Hello and welcome to Wizard World Virtual Experiences. I'm Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics. We are streaming to you live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, bringing you that Comic-Con life to the comfort of your home with these incredible fan experience panels. Of course, this is all just to wet your whistle as we roll out our brand new feature, the Wizard World Signature Series, a subscription series giving you the power to curate your own virtual convention consumption. Subscribe to your favorite tracks and continue to take part in our celebrity private video chats, autographs, photo ops, and more, all on sale at the brand new wizardworld.com. Also, don't forget to check out the signed memorabilia and works of art from all our favorite artists and vendors from previous virtual experiences and physical conventions at wizardworldvault.com. Ladies and gents, it is my pleasure to bring to this virtual stage cool Kickstarters, creators and campaigns, and entertainment. This is part of a brilliant partnership that we have with Immortal Studios. And to kick it off, let's start off by bringing in these amazing, amazing creators. And we're going to start with, from Immortal Studios, CEO and writer of its newest title, Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsman. Let's hear for Peter Shiao. What up, Peter?
Hey, Victor, how you doing? Congratulations on your Samaritan project, by the way.
Thank you very, very much. 10 years. I mean, it's crazy to think that, that book has been running around for 10 years.
You are indeed the hardest working man in comic books. So I'm looking forward to seeing those titles. And I want to give a shout out to your book.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much for that one. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. Like, come on, let's do a job here.
Look, I am honored and really humbled to be surrounded by these amazing creators. I don't pretend to be a comic creator because this is my first time ever writing anything for comics. So I'm just a little bit starstruck to be surrounded by these excellent folks. I would just say, speaking from the heart, that the Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsman was my favorite book growing up, written by my father. So it's really personal. It's a story that's walked around with me in my head for all of my life. So being able to iterate it, write it for the first time, publish it through my own company, being surrounded by my partners and friends here today and these great creators, I'm humbled and really excited. This is a story of remembering your hero. I think we all have, as you know, at Immortal Studios, our major goal is to awaken the hero in everybody through the stories that we tell. And that I think the thesis is that there's a hero inside all of us. It's a very little voice that if you don't remember and you drown him or her out, you'll be disappointed. You could be lost in life. But so the theme of this story is really remembering your hero. It's personal for me. And the star or the protagonist, the hero, is an American character. At this moment in time, it's particularly poignant. So I just want to thank you for your time and consider being part of this. And
of course.
All of these hero projects on the stage, and just want to thank all of our partners for being here and those of you at Wizard World.
Oh, thank you very, very much for all of that. To keep the intros going, okay, so launching only 3 days ago and already killing it on Kickstarter. Let's hear for the dancer with Miss Calamia. What up, girl?
Hi, thank you so much. Yeah, well, Victor, I love hanging out with you, so I'm so glad that we're doing this. And yeah, The Dancer, it's about a young woman who's a dancer / assassin. And when she was little, she witnessed her parents being murdered in front of her and never dealt with that trauma until now. And it's really the comparison of dance and martial arts, because with dance, you think it's beautiful, it's a work of art, but there's definitely a brutality that goes along with it, especially to be a dancer. And then martial arts, the flip side, a lot of people see it as a violent thing because it has to do with fighting, but there's such a beauty to it. And
Absolutely.
even with choreography, right? Like when you see these fight scenes in the Marvel movies or whatever, it's kind of like a dance, and that's how you kind of see it. And the book, though, is actually about mental health, and it's about this girl going through PTSD and how she deals with it. So even though in the forefront it's a very physical book, and obviously there's going to be a lot of action, it is a very mental book as well, a very psychological book.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Also working almost hand in hand with Immortal Studios. He's got like an amazing Kickstarter campaign with only 4 days left, if I'm not mistaken. Let's hear it for Charlie Stickney. What's up, sir?
Woo-hoo, Charlie.
Oh, I think
Let me have an entrance with sound. That's probably a little bit better. Hey, how's it going? Victor, it's great to be back here. I've got a campaign for Glarien going right now. It's a spin-off from my White Ash series, which has also been on Kickstarter and out through Scout Comics. And the quick pitch on this one is it's White Ash's most dangerous elf, and her story from 3,000 years ago, but as told through the eyes of a woman who's living in 1970s New York City. And so, you know, there's a little bit of like Red Sonja meets Taxi Driver, but with elves and demons kind of vibe going on. But at its core, this story is, it's really about how loss affects people and changes their trajectory going forward. So it's the story of these two different women in two radically different places and times, and how, you know, these moments of tragedy have bound them together. And we'll see that there's a lot more that binds them as the series goes forward. And these two stories that seemingly are different will eventually come together over the course of the series.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so slinging some true magic with the Campaign for Excellence. Also running short with just 4 more days to jump in this one, but highly successful. Let's hear it for Emilio Lopez. What's up, sir? How are we?
Hello. Yes, excellence is real. So excellence is about, well, we're really happy that we've actually smashed our goals, and just to kind of have this thing come out. It's so great to be able to bring this sort of collector's edition of the original run of Excellence. Excellence is actually the story about Spencer Dales and his relationship with his father, and the combination of that with the Aegis, a secret organization of magicians who are charged to uplift specific people, but cannot use it to uplift themselves.
Isn't that messed up?
Yeah, it's his journey about essentially finding out the deeper meaning of what the Aegis was built on, and to try to build a new future for the Aegis. So we get to read that story, and then, you know, of course, obviously with myself, the colorist, Kari Randolph, who's the illustrator of the book, Brendan Thomas, who's the writer, and as well as, unfortunately, who wasn't able to make it, Darren Bennett, our wonderful letterer. We try to feature, one thing about Excellence is we try to feature all of the creators in the process. So whenever you see any of our stuff, it's always all of us together. You know, a lot of times you'll find that the letterer gets left out, or the colorist doesn't. You know, you just see a couple of names. We're all working on this book, and we're all bringing our own experiences and love for the art into this.
That's fantastic. And obviously, fans of the Adept know that Darren did the lettering for the Adept. So if you love Darren's letters, you need to follow that man on all the things that he's doing.
Also for
did he for Chronicles too?
That has been put
Darren's got some. He's been all over the place. I mean, he just received an award for pretty recently.
That's right.
So he's good. He's good stuff.
Shout out to Darren. For
lucky to have him.
Editor on Chronicles. So.
Oh, there he is.
I was gonna say, like, no, there he is. Right there. He just popped up. He's so, yeah. All right, so with 20 days left, already 119% funded. Let's hear it for Impossible 2 with Karl Kessel. Hello, Karl. How are we doing?
Doing good, Victor. Great to be here. So yeah, Impossible 2 is my short version for Impossible Jones, the second book featuring Impossible Jones. We kickstarted a graphic novel a couple of years ago, and this is a comic book, a 28-page story that teams Impossible Jones with Holly Days, who is a Christmas-themed thief. And it starts as a girls' night out, and, you know, those things never end well, do they? And so that's it. You know, Impossible Jones is it was a thief, and she gained superpowers and was mistaken for a superhero, and just decided, if that's what people want to think, that's fine with me. Yay. But she has no plans of giving up her criminal ways. In fact, having powers makes it a lot easier, because the cops aren't after her. She can go into the police station and they like her. She can go into a jewelry store and say, so show me your security system here. And they're happy to do it, you know? So she's got to fool enough people that she's a hero while she continues being a thief.
I love it.
So that's kind of the basic idea of the character.
That is fantastic. And you guys got some time to jump on that one and make sure that you do. Already funded. That's phenomenal. Okay, so keeping up with the Joneses, okay, we got Ichabod Jones, represented by Russell Nohelty. You got 6 days left, and this is for volumes 1 through 3 right now?
Yeah, we came back to Kickstarter 2 years ago because Ichabod's a project I've been working on for a decade, talking about projects that we work on for a decade. I started writing it in 2010, finished production of the first volume in 2012, and we launched in 2014. And I did not expect the response that people gave to the books. So people have been asking me for more issues and more stories in Ichabod's life for 5 years since we launched it. And 2 years ago, we came back to Kickstarter to bring Ichabod to fund a fifth issue. It significantly overfunded, and we did volume 2 last year, and now we're back with volume 3. So nice. Ichabod is about a mental patient that escapes an asylum and becomes a monster hunter, but doesn't know if he's killing monsters, humans, or it's all in his head the whole time. And along the way, he kind of meets a ragtag band of misfits who decide that they want to end the apocalypse and have no idea how to do it and set out to sort of save the world. But again, you still don't know the whole time if he's killing monsters, humans, or it's all in his head. Very much what Kat was talking about. It's also an exploration of mental health and whether someone who has been irreparably labeled as a monster and a villain can become a hero and redeem themselves.
Dude, I love it. It's like a modern Don Quixote. It's brilliant. Okay, so I got to give a shout out to the folks that are watching live right now. We got folks from Canada, Australia, Oklahoma, North Carolina, all over the world, really. Guys, if you are watching live, there's a link that we're going to put in the chats that if you click into that, drop your email address, it'll put you in for a drawing, some freebies that the guys are going to give you guys for watching live. And if you're not watching live, that's cool too. It's all good. If you support all 6 campaigns, that puts you in the running to get a new print. I think it's a new prize. Definitely a print, might be more. I don't know. Like, we'll find out. But if you support all 6, that's how you get that goodness. So make sure you do that right now because some of the campaigns are ending soon. So you ain't got that much time. Okay, so let's talk about what Kickstarter has brought to the table for each of you. I mean, you have different levels of creativity in terms of experience, style, whether you've stayed in the independent market, worked for mainstream publishers. What is it that's so good about Kickstarter that drove you here? Anybody can start that one off. Who wants to jump in? Why Kickstarter?
I think it's a chance to connect. I mean, we're all independently operating in our own silos, and here's a platform that's going to deliver an audience and give us a chance to connect with people who like what we're doing, and that's really amazing. This is our 2nd Kickstarter, but we were very intentional about it. It's really paid off for us, and we love the Kickstarter community and really consider this the first stop of everything that we do. So it's gotten our eternal loyalty.
That's awesome. I would have to agree with Peter. I came to Kickstarter because it was a way to actually get money so I could like pay my bills. But what I love about Kickstarter is all these people here and all of the direct connection you have to the people who love your work. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've worked in comics 30 years and I've never had this sort of real personal connection with the audience. And that is much more important to me at this point than, although it's also very important that I get to work on stuff I love. That is also very important. But the real special part is the connection with the audience.
Awesome. I'm not sure that exists in many places at all. I also do novels, and we all are on Comixology, I'm sure, and I'm on Amazon. And while I bring my novels as well to Kickstarter, the reason I do that is because all I see in the Amazon dashboard or Comixology is a graph of people who buy. No idea whether they liked it unless they happen to leave a review. You have no idea, if they bought it because they love the project or just if they even read it. Like, you have no idea who these people are, and and by doing Kickstarter, you see everybody who supports the project. You see how many people. I've done 16 projects now. How many people back multiple campaigns? Like, you can email them and ask them specifically like what they liked, what they didn't like. Frankly, I mean, when I first came to Kickstarter with Ichabod, it's because nobody else wanted it. Like I believed that there was an audience for this weird book that I made, and aside from one publisher who eventually relinquished the rights to me back, no one else believed me. And I said, I think there's and before we brought it to conventions, we brought it to Kickstarter, and I said, I trust in this book, I believe in it, and it was wonderful to see. I mean, our first campaign did, I think, $5,500, which is nothing comparatively to what we do now, but it still showed like there was, like, I was right. Like, I don't know how big the audience is for this book, but like there is an audience for this book, and Kickstarter allows me to access them.
That's brilliant.
I think that's 16 campaigns. Do you have like somebody who's been in all of them, or how many people have been in all 16 of your campaigns?
That's a good question.
Well, the nice thing about I use BackerKit, and the nice thing about BackerKit is it shows you who has backed multiple campaigns. I don't think there's anyone who's backed every single one except for my mother.
That counts, though. That counts.
It counts. I do, but there was somebody. My father used to be like the #1 backer under my mother, and someone has just surpassed him. He died several years ago, and it took several years for someone else to back enough campaigns at a high enough level to surpass him. But yeah, there is a few people. Actually, there's a handful of people now that I can say, like, these people are going to back all of the campaigns. In fact, we talked off camera, someone had emailed me that they said they backed all 6 campaigns and of these campaigns. And I know this person from years of backing. And I was like, of course you did, like, because that's the kind of person that you are. And it's so lovely to see that throughout the community. So I don't think anyone's backed, but there's many people who've backed more than 10.
That's awesome.
I think for us on Excellence, it's just a chance to sort of do the like ultimate version of whatever of our original book. It's a lot of, when printing comes along and all of that sort of stuff, you would wish that you could just do that ultimate collected edition of all of your work. And I think that's one of the things, is also sort of reaching out to the fans who not only know about our book, but also indoctrinate or bring in some new fans who may not be fully familiar with, and also kind of read our stories within the inside of the books.
I agree with the connection aspect, but I also want to piggyback off what Russell said. I think Kickstarter is an opportunity for stories that might not be in the mainstream. You could go click and get a martial arts book and then a superhero book, and they're right next to each other. And I think that's so special. And, for all of us, like, okay, maybe you're really good at writing superhero books and that's what your audience is at. But with Kickstarter, you could kind of experiment and say, okay, but I really want to write a martial arts book, or I really want to write a comedy. And I think that's a great opportunity to do that as well. And yeah, Kickstarter is just such a wonderful place for creativity, but then also just people hanging. I mean, this right here is so special.
Yeah, I think community is what it comes down to. I mean, there's the community of backers, but there's also the community of creators. And it was really easy to find people that I liked. That when we're putting something like this together, it's like, who do you want to have? And you can find great people, great creators who are looking to support each other. And I think the dynamics of the Kickstarter market are different than the direct market, like in comic book shops, where in comic book shops, there's only so much shelf space. So there's a little bit more competition where you want to have your product do well. And sometimes if yours does well, it does at the expense of another product that the retailer can't put on the shelves. Whereas Kickstarter, it's an infinite shelf. So the more people, who come to Kickstarter, the more things that you can find. And there's a market for everything. But when Excellence comes to Kickstarter, they bring all of their backers. And, when Russell comes, he brings his backers. With Kat, she brings hers. And so like people who are watching this stream right now, they can look at all of these comics, and we're here to support each other. We're not taking up shelf space. We're extending that shelf and introducing new people. And I think that's something that's unique to this space that you can sell comics in.
Well, can I also, you mentioned creator community and backer community, but I think we should also talk about Margot and Oriana and the team at Kickstarter themselves, because they're really the glue that holds all of this together. Like, it comes really from them and the community that they have fostered over the years that makes the comics community special.
I love that. I got to give you mad credit for that one, because a lot of times, we as creatives, as fans, we only know the business on the forefront. We don't know the behind the scenes things. For my own personal career with Wizard, that's how I came up, was I took the time to learn who was behind the brand Wizard, and to find out who is behind the brand of Kickstarter is one of the most genius things. People listen to that gem, not now, but right now, and listen to it over and over and over, because that's the true measure of success. I got to give a shout out. The great Sean Mack is watching. Said I've supported Kat's Dancer, Charlie's Glarien Kickstarters. We'll have to check out everybody else. Okay, so here's an interesting one. Obviously, when you're creative, you have an idea, you want to put it out there. Not everyone loves it. Funny Figs asked, said, well, I just got to deal with my first hater recently. And isn't that a mark of success when you get your first hater? How do you guys deal with the inevitable negativity that can come to you via the internet?
Don't. Don't
right.
deal with it.
Yeah,
that's the smartest way.
I agree. I just ignore it. Yeah.
Don't fuel the fire.
So I will actually answer them directly.
See, so Peter, that's
Peter's
a bit dangerous, isn't it?
I don't mind about doing that, but I've done it a few times, and
God bless.
That's so I'll punch back.
It's interesting because it's like you also kind of sort of wonder where it sort of comes from, where it's like we understand that this may not be for you, but does that mean that you need to try to take somebody else down because of it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was just accused of cultural appropriation for leaning into the wuxia genre, which is native to my culture. So I thought that.
So wait, like you kind of pop in like, hi, not at all appropriation.
All the things you could accuse me of doing, but cultural appropriation is probably not one of them.
Yeah, like 100%. That's a swing and a miss on that one. That's not it. Okay,
I'll give a less flippant answer, which is like, you're not making stuff for them. Like the easiest way for me to understand when someone reacts negatively to something that I've done, whether they leave a 1-star review or they trash me on social media, is like, I'm not writing for you. I'm not making stuff for you. And like, maybe in 5 years you will realize, like, you will be in a place mentally, physically, emotionally that like this might resonate with you, or maybe you were in that place 5 years ago and it's no longer a thing that resonates with you. But like, I am not making this for you. I understand that like there is a level of quality that I bring to work, the work, which like, it does take time. It takes time, energy, and effort to have that level of discipline and quality, and kind of be able to tell like, this is a work that is objectively good. I am proud of it, but it may be subjectively not for you. And if once you cross that threshold, then you can say, oh, well, like, that's okay. Like, I don't like every book that comes out. Like, I don't like most books that come out. Like my tastes are very odd, and but I can at least appreciate the quality of it, even if it is not a thing for me. And so for me, the easiest way to go about this is say, oh, I'm sorry this didn't connect with you, but like, look at all the people it did connect with. And like, these are the people I'm making it for, not these people.
There you go.
And I think to add, because coming from a critic's background as well, one thing I try to do if I don't like a book, I give actual criticism. And there's a difference between hating a book and saying, oh, these are things I personally didn't like, or these are things I personally love. And I think hopefully maybe more readers can do that and give criticism instead of just negativity.
That's an art in itself. I used to do reviews for video games and stuff like that. And it's, even if it's a game that you're or title that you don't exactly care for, you still try to look for those things that also people might be able to connect with. I've read reviews before and, or a negative review and said, you know what, that seems like something I might enjoy. Even though
this guy didn't like it.
Even though this guy didn't like it, you know what, I think so.
But haters and trolling, is that a real big thing? Because again, we are young in our Kickstarter journey. We're just on our second book. So far, we found much more love than anything else. I mean, but is trolling, is that a?
I mean, it is a thing. In my own personal opinion, it is a mark of quality when you get like a troll. Like, you should kind of like tip your hat and be like, oh, I've arrived, because somebody has taken the time to just kind of like just poke at my success. So I wish you a good troll in your future that you can go.
No, that's not good.
Yes, that is a good thing. When you get that person that's like, I'm just mad. You're like,
oh,
yes,
God.
I'm giving you something to be mad about. Every hero needs a villain. Every hero needs a villain.
Oh, no, we're getting unbreakable now.
It's one of my favorite movies. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Okay, so when it comes to running a campaign, this is a creative job unto itself. If you can, each of you, give me one of your tip-top tips to run a successful campaign. What do you think is a necessity to make sure that your campaign is a success every time you launch?
Adaptability. You have to be able, every campaign is a different animal. And every campaign I've run, even for the same book, like issue 1, like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, was a different animal from each other. Running at different times of the year is different from each other, because there's and every time you launch, there'll be a different cohort of humans that are also launching projects, and there'll be different goals that you have, but and they'll be, you might launch way higher than you think or way lower than you think. This particular campaign, I can say we launched way lower than I thought, way lower than last time. I talked to Charlie about this, and he told me not to worry, and I was worried, very worried, but I also knew that like I had a bag of tricks. We launched a couple of rewards. We launched original art for the first time. We just our $20,000 like stretch goal. I don't do a lot of stretch goals, but the $20,000 unlock this time is a signed book plate by Renzo, which we've never done before. So like, and these are things like that came up during the campaign, and you have to understand the game you're playing. But you have to also understand that no battle survives first contact, and that the things that you're planning still plan, but be able to have friends that like invite you to do things like this, have rewards that you are ready to unlock, have people you're ready to collaborate with. All of those pieces and adaptability really does come down to the tools in your toolkit. Like if you only have a hammer, then you can't be very adaptive. Like you need to understand all of the tools that exist for you so that when you have an opportunity to use them, you can use them very easily.
Nice, very nice. Before we continue, have you guys answer that, I do want to give a shout out. We got folks from Norway and Florida tuning in. And guys, if you are watching live, there's a link that's going to be in the chat. If you put your email address in that, you get into a drawing for some free content, some freebies just for being here on the live show. And if you back all 6 campaigns that we're promoting right now, there's some freebies, some cool things, some extra prizes that you will get just for that. So I just want to plug that for everybody. Who else wants to add into it? So we got adaptability. What else we got?
You go, Emilio. Go.
Oh, I might short. I mean, I would agree with adaptability and also having a pretty close to completed project. Sometimes what happens, you'll find that somebody will launch a Kickstarter and they have kind of absolutely nothing. At least have an issue or a few issues, or have a roadmap as to where you want to go with it. Because so many times you find where you hit really high, and then they start adding all kinds of things, and they haven't actually thought about what they wanted to offer yet. At least for Excellence, we sort of had an idea as the things that we wanted to go up for the next level and what we wanted to do.
Of course, that preparation is key.
What's worked well for us is really taking the team approach. So just bringing a community along, having support, having not just one person where you're kind of working yourself to the ground, but kind of engage people who believe in what you're doing and delegate and bring that kind of community to bear. And ideally, that a member of that community could be Charlie Stickney.
Be friends with Charlie is actually the one advice I give you. But no, in all seriousness, I think study and community. So we talked about community before, but I see a lot of Kickstarters, they like want to be part of the Kickstarter community only when they're running their Kickstarter. It's like, no, you got to be part of that community throughout the year. And that's how you make friends. And also studying what makes a campaign work will help you as well. And really understanding the Kickstarter platform as a whole.
Yeah,
and I just say that Kat doesn't that's such an important key. There's no other place besides other crowdfunding platforms you can literally look at everyone's sales page that they've ever run for the entire history of the world. Like if you went to an online marketer and said, here is 50,000 sales pages, exactly how much they raised, exactly how many people backed at each pledge who give money to each, they would go insane. Like that's data that
you don't sell that. You don't give that away.
Well, and I think I will have a question for Emilio because he's the person who broke that 6-digit campaign. So what's the secret sauce, man? Like, give us the inner workings of what that looks like.
Of the inner workings, I mean, it's an interesting sort of thing. I can't exactly tell you. I mean, it's partially, obviously we had a book out on the market already, so we sort of had that already, as well as a lot of other things. And one of the things that we also tried to do is also feature, illustrators of color to do all of our covers, which is called the Visions of Excellence, to show other people within other people of color who are within the industry who have worked for years to try to showcase them as well, like Aletha Martinez, who I'm currently working on with Immortal Wonder Woman, and also a lot of our other people who worked on and done it. It's just these are people that we've known for years, and that's the one thing about we always sort of say about when it comes to these sorts of books. It's like we've always been here. We've been doing this stuff for years. So now we come on, okay, and that's one of the things. Yeah, come on.
Peter, I do think what Emilio is saying. Those books have been there. You're now able to get them out to people, and people often I have built a lot of what I've done just through Kickstarter. And the first campaign I did, I had about 300 backers. The campaign that I have for Glarien right now has around 1,300 backers. Mm-hmm. And the reason that has happened is because you look around, and I know all these people. And I met Karl, through Kickstarter about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we've become friends and we've corresponded. And that's, helped me level up my Kickstarter community. And, by investing in Kickstarter community, getting to know other creators, it helps you build your network, have those bigger launches. And, but then you look at but going back to what Russell said, you look at other campaigns and you adapt and you keep saying, how can I get a better dollar per average for my Kickstarter? So you look at Emilio's Kickstarter. One of the reasons, it's a great campaign, it's got a lot of backers, but they also have a really high per backer average. And that's because their base tier is a $50 pledge tier. Mm-hmm. So, you can sort of see, do I need to up my base pledge tier? Do I need to offer something that's a little bit higher if I want to hit those bigger numbers? So, like Emilio and I have similar number of backers, but their campaign is, almost twice what I have because they have higher pledge tiers. But then you look at someone like Brian Pulo, who's doing the Lady of Death, and he has 3 times the number of backers, but 8 times the pledge tier level. So he's got a lot of pledges that he sells at the $800 mark. And he can do that, and I can't. But if I'm a new Kickstarter creator coming to the platform, I can look what's working for other creators. Are variant covers working for them? Are the hard covers working for them? What can I do to replicate that among my own audience and make that work? And I think, that is the information that you can take from other campaigns, make it intrinsic to you, but also build your network so you can keep expanding what you do campaign after campaign.
There's actually a very sophisticated business model at work, and pricing strategy. Because the way that Charlie, you just sounded like you're teaching an MBA class.
It's true.
There's a method to the madness, is what we've learned.
Absolutely.
And I'll just add my little 2 cents to all this. I can't compete on the high level these guys are talking at. I will say that every time I put a campaign together, though, and when I put out an update, when I write the story and when I write my rewards, I always write to one person. I always say thank you. I don't say thank all of you. I say thank you for helping me. And I don't know if that really makes a difference, but it's important to me.
Yeah. Personalized. That's huge. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that because it does create that community sense, that one-on-one basis that makes Kickstarter unique from what Russell was saying from Amazon, which is just a sales platform that people can just buy stuff. These are people that are connecting to you and you're connecting to them. I think that's very, very wise. Tom Shep, as a writer, how do you keep improving on your quality? And how do you keep a happy medium between writing to your vision, but also to your audience? And I think, not even just as a writer, that question can kind of expand on any number of levels, but anybody want to jump on that one?
Read a lot of books. There's
different books.
Yes, different books, but also I'm not saying it has never been done. Mm-hmm. I do know some writers who are quite good who say they don't read a lot. And I always think, God, how much better would you be if you read a lot? Like if you understood the tropes of the genre and how to subvert them and who is hot and who is not, and the kinds of art styles that work and don't work on the platform that you're working with. Me and Charlie literally had a conversation about this last night. We were talking about the success of his campaign. And I was like, well, I just did a study of every campaign that has gone over $20,000. And I can tell you, these 4 elements are the things that I found, and they are all present in your campaign. So those kinds of things are the kinds of stuff you need to know, and you need to know whether to turn into them or subvert them, or how you're going to position yourself. And the second thing you have to do is write. Like, I've written 26 novels. Like, I've learned a little bit each time. And I really wanted to get good at writing novels. And that meant reading a lot of novels and writing a lot of novels, because I had not done very much of either before I hit my 30s. And the same thing with comics is not just, and comics or novels or whatever you're writing, is you also have to study them, not just understand them. But if you see something that's like, oh, that's really good, like every time something takes your breath away, or like you're like, oh, that was really cool, I always say, until you can train yourself to do it internally, is to be like, wait, why was that cool? Like, why was that moment
that's
cool?
Good.
Like how much, and then go back and at least analyze the last chapter or the last couple of issues, because like they set it up in a way that they are planning the payoff, and they're doing that by setting it up in specific ways. My wife is reading a book that I have read before, and she's reading it. We read every night before bed, and she's reading it, and like I can tell when she's about to have a realization, and I can tell like, because I know the book, and I know like she's like, wait, that is gonna happen, and that literally will happen 3 sentences later. But like she just figures it out before she figures it. But I also know like half of those are false flags, but and that's gonna build an even stronger when the real realization comes later in the book. And every one of these things, people think there's some like easy fix for or quick fix, but there's no quick fix to learning to write better. You must write a lot, and you must read a lot. You must do them in tandem with each other.
Look, I'm the newbie here, so I can't be like Russell and talk about my experience with 20, 30 books and all these different audiences. So my strategy is the very simple one. It's just that I hope that people can experience like a real heartbeat behind it. There's a real person. There's a POV. And that there's emotionality, there's a reason, and there's a message, and there's a tone that I want to share authentically with people that I'm really passionate about. And I think it's beautiful, and I love it. And I hope just that love and that feeling comes across. And that's my hope. Now, I may never be back and do this again, because
you got to come back and do this. What are you talking about? Come on.
No, look, like I said, this is not, I'm a newbie. I'm not a proven writer commodity. So I did it because I loved it, and I wanted to tell this story, and I hope that I hope I get a second crack at it. Because
absolutely, I mean, like all of us, we all started off as just that, but we followed what Russell said and kept going. So that way, we're not just newbies. So you got to come back for more books. We are getting low on time, so I'm gonna let you finish, Charlie. But I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to shout out where they are on social media. So start to think about that. Go ahead. Real
quick, because I wanted to address the specific point about writing to your audience. I think if you don't have an audience, you should write the story that you want to write. Yeah. If you do have an audience, maybe you do that, but you also might want to take in mind what your audience is going to support. So when I was going to write Glarien, my first thought was I was just going to write an epic fantasy, because I kind of wanted to do that. But then I thought my audience that likes White Ash also like something that's more grounded and rooted in things. So then I started thinking, is there a way I can do both that would satisfy that audience, but also satisfy me creatively? So I think like those are good thoughts to have. Ultimately, you want to write what makes you happy, but be cognizant of what your audience is going to support if you have one.
Very interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So as we are wrapping up, we're going to start in my lower corner here. We're going to work our way around. So Kat, if you don't mind, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Of course. Well, of course, you got the Kickstarter for The Dancer, and at Comic Uno is probably the best place to find me on Twitter, and my YouTube channel, Comic Uno, and also my writing over at Newsrama.
There we go. Charlie?
I'm at Charles Stickney on Twitter. That's basically the best place to follow me. It's what I check the most. So feel free to follow me, DM me over there, and make sure you are signing up for the giveaways. I'm actually giving away a copy of White Ash #4, a rare variant cover, which was the first appearance of Glarien. So
nice. Russell?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Russell Nohelty, and my website, russellnohelty.com. But my company has an app called Wannabe Plus, which you can get a free month of by downloading it on the Android or App Store and get a whole bunch of our stuff and check it out for free.
Awesome. Emilio?
Well, you can actually find me at emanland. That's at emanland on Twitter and on Instagram. Also, check out Skybound because that's where excellence is. And also, shout out to Kari Randolph and Brandon Thomas and Darren Bennett. So, yeah, you can find us all. Well, excellence is real. All that.
Awesome. Karl?
I'm on Twitter at Karl Kessel. But the easiest way to find the Impossible Jones Kickstarter is impossiblekickstarter.com. That takes you right there. Also, impossiblejones.com takes you right to the Kickstarter right now. So, and I'm on Facebook, but I never understand how to tell people to find me there. It's just look for me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
There you go. And last but not least, Peter, bring us on home.
Sure. Well, for everybody who's interested in following our journey and the launch of our Immortal Storyverse that's dedicated to the wuxia genre, which is the martial fantasy genre, you can follow us. You can go to our website at immortalstudios.com. Obviously, my personal Instagram is Ancient Futurist, and our Insta for Immortal is Immortal Global. So you can connect with all of us in one of those places.
I love that. I'll absolutely adore it. Again, if you were watching live, make sure you click that link. Drop your email address so that way you can get in for the drawing for the free goodies and support all of these amazing Kickstarter campaigns because there will be some awesome things that you can get just by doing so. Sean Mack came back and totally said that all these books sound great. And for those projects that he hasn't backed yet, he's gonna. And thank everybody for this great live chat. And I co-sign all that. Thank you all for joining me this evening. This was an absolute pleasure. Again, if you guys are watching on a replay, definitely see if the campaigns are still live. And if they are, jump in there because you want these books in your collection. They're amazing titles. And I can't say enough about how much I am excited for all of them. I'm Victor Dandridge saying thank you guys. Yes, buy the Samaritan. 10 years, y'all. 10 years. That's what it is. It's such a thank you, Peter, for that one. Big shout out to Wizard World for bringing us all together. Until next time, guys, have a great evening and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you later.